It's not letting me. All right.
You might have to put a password in.
Stacy's here.
All right, let's go get Stace real quick. So we're talking to Stacey Gibbons. I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of We Talk Weeklies After the Talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
And Classy Lady Sparkle was definitely in the building. We got Lady S. Dot coming in the building. And so we're going to have a dynamic show, which I'm super excited about. We're just trying to make sure that all of our technical pieces are in line. We having some issues, which is, when you talk about technology, it's always something, right? If something, they say Murphy's Creed, as they call it. If something can go wrong, it does.
Yeah. All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. God is good.
All the time. you ever seen that little, it's like a meme where the man is coming in the house to kill somebody and it's like a church person. Like they hide him, but the killer is like, God is good. And then the church person like all the time, but they hide. You saw that one?
Give a round of applause for that. That was funny.
I'm hurt you.
They said, look. They said they had that on. Let me put some music on real quick. I'll just put that on for a second. This is somebody else's music. This is Spark music, right? I'm gonna just put this on because I want to talk a little bit. But they have the black card. You know the black card? It's like a game, and it's called the black cards or something like that. So they pull out a card, right? And you have to be able to answer it. Because that's your card. That means you can keep your black card. If you can't answer it, right, then they're going to take your black card away, right? And that's one of them, right? And so someone said, I think they did this to Kamala, right? They did this to Kamala on the Breakfast Club. They was like, God is good. all the time. She knew it though, right? She kept her black card on that, right? And so we talk weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
And the beautiful
Classy Lady
She's
Sparkle.
back in now. Classy Lady Sparkle was definitely in the building. We got Lady S. Dot. You said Lady S. Dot is here?
Lady S. Dot is in the house.
She's finally here. I put her on Front Street all the time because she come in when she feel like coming. I don't know what she be doing. Oh, she still ain't coming. She's standing outside the door. I don't. And we just waiting on Lady S. Dot. When
I have my phone.
Where's that? Where your phone? So Lady S. Dot says she don't have her phone. Where's your phone at?
I left it somewhere. So when I
Somewhere?
and couldn't figure out how to call y'all, let y'all know I was down.
How you text
Oh
us?
my gosh.
Yeah.
I went to the front, got into the vestibule, pulled my laptop out, and sent the email.
Oh, wow.
What?
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Is it in your car?
No, I think I left it at the house. Like I realized when I got here, I didn't have my phone.
You need to call the hubby. Make sure.
Want me to call you
He
home?
gonna have a fit about that.
Hold on, your watch can't track your phone?
Yeah, I think I just came from the twins. I had to meet up with them to drop stuff off. They said thank you again, by the way.
Oh, it's all good.
So
Yeah.
it's either there or at their house. It's
Yikes,
at one of the
that's
houses.
scary.
Yeah.
All right, no doubt. All right, so let's give Lady S. Dot a round of applause for even making it without her phone. That's like our lifeline, so we need our phones, right? And so
I
we're
was
going.
throwing rocks at the window and realized y'all couldn't.
She did the old John. So Rock said to make sure. Yeah, we in the studio, we can't hear that. That's like soundproof.
Second floor.
Yeah, and we still got the door open. It's still like that. All right, so we talk weeklies after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk, and this is let's talk about how your day was. Let's start there. How was your day?
My day was long. I was at helping my mom out at her Women's Day conference, which was really nice. It was nice to see all the women just being inspired and it's really nice. The camaraderie, the message, the all positivity, the love and all that. Yeah, it's just very much needed right now. So.
No doubt. Shout out to Mom Dukes. She's doing her
shout out to
part.
her.
She's doing her part over there. All right, what about you, classy lady?
I had a good day today.
Yeah, do you
So
want-
I have been on this fitness journey, y'all. I have been like wearing a 50-pound weighted vest, walking 3 miles, and then I run only like twice a week. But when I went running this morning, I saw these women out there jumping double dutch. I was like, what they over there doing? So when I went over there, I knew a couple of them, and it was the 40-plus double dutch group.
Wow.
So I haven't jumped in years. Yo, I still got it.
You sure? You just saying it. Yeah.
I got the video. I put it on my
you
page.
said you got the video.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why didn't you shoot it to us and we would have
I'm
put it on him?
gonna shoot it right now.
She's gonna shoot it right now.
I'm gonna give it to you right now.
No doubt.
Yeah,
Email
so-
it. We'll pull it right up. You talking that crack. We
right.
want to see.
All right, I
Joey
will.
Crack. Right, good news and bad, because that's good news. It's either going to turn in good news and bad news, because it's good news if you make
You
it. If you,
funny.
all right, yeah, we're going to put that in your story.
Now I'm like, yo, it
And
ain't
then
even
look-
a long jump, and then he gonna be having everybody.
A couple seconds. See, I told you I had it.
Oh gosh, yeah, but I had a good day.
no
It
doubt.
felt good.
Yeah, no doubt. Lady Esther, I don't think your mic is on because we stuck on this other mic. But how was your day anyway?
My day was all right.
All right,
Got to
brother.
catch up with some old friends and get some stuff done around the house. A little bit of running around, but not too much.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. All right, there you go. So we definitely in the building today, and super excited about some of the things that we have going on. Some of the things that we talk weekly is, have been doing and involved with. And Classy Lady Sparkle want to talk a little bit about that in her stories. But what we have coming up next is, you already know, a segment with whom I love to death. Why do I love these segments? Because I get an opportunity to talk to the good old folk, right? And so our interview today is someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. We want to talk. When he start talking, just be ready, buckle up. Some say controversial, some say it's just real. If facts is facts, right? You just have to be ready to accept it. At least be open-minded to accept some of the different ideals that's going on in our communities, right? And so without further ado, Sizzle, you giving it to me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, who do we have today?
So we have the Mr. Obona Hagins.
Yeah, Obona Hagins.
Obona Hagins.
Had it right.
He's the 13th Amendment advocate and president of the Philadelphia Reparations Coalition for American Freedmen. He's a retired architectural design teacher from Dobbins High School. Shout out to Dobbins, absolutely. Former cab driver and environmentalist. Hagins is also the publisher of the Philly Word magazine, a publication currently on Facebook. Hagins' dual mission is to advance the 13th Amendment's protections for freedmen and to establish an Office of Freedmen Affairs in Philadelphia, addressing the long-standing impacts of structural racism and supporting freedmen communities. For the past 2 years, Hagins has been dedicated to getting Congress to define the badges, vestiges, and incidents of slavery, especially after Philadelphia's Roadmap to Safer Communities report identified structural racism as a root cause of gun violence. This realization led Hagins to view structural racism as a badge of slavery, making it a focal point of his advocacy work. So let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Mr. Obona Hagins.
How are you, my friend? How are you?
Hey, it's been a long time since I've been up here, man. It's been 5 years. I don't know what. Did I fall off your radar for a minute?
Nah, you here. You definitely with us, So what's going on, my brother? What's going on? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. I'm encouraged. I want to let everybody know that I'm not crazy. I go down city council every week. Everybody say, why this man keep coming down city council every week talking the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. 13th Amendment violations, American freedmen, badges of slavery. These are all things that have been a focal point of what I've been pushing, right?
Right.
So now, you may not like this, and many of your listeners may not like this, but if you look at Donald Trump and his tenacity and the fact that no matter what anybody said, good or bad, he was focused on getting reelected.
Yes, he was.
And so there's something to be said about that. There's something to be said about being or standing 10 toes down on something that you absolutely know, not believe, but absolutely know. So I go down to city council based on what I know for a fact, based on the United States Constitution, not based on how I feel about something, or I feel that somebody is racist, or I feel that somebody is doing me wrong. Well, if they're doing me wrong, where is it in the Constitution that they're doing me wrong? Where is it based on legal grounds, not just based on how I feel? So a lot of times when you see us as American freedmen, African Americans, we're failing because we don't understand what we're doing. We don't understand what the law is. We don't understand what the Constitution is. And contrary to popular belief, all of the Philadelphia City Council members, they do not know the rights of the American freedmen.
All right. So this is what I want to do, right? So I want to back up a little bit because I know there's some that may have a question about freedmen, right? And the actual terms, right? So I want to give context with which you're coming from, that position, so we can continue to further extrapolate kind of what you're standing on as it relates to the full picture, right? So let's start there with how you're defining, and I say that loosely, how you're defining, right? I say that loosely, but how you're defining freedmen, right? Freedmen, right? Yeah.
Got you. So at one time, there was a culture of slavery. It was never a law. It was just a culture. White folk just owned so-called black folk.
Correct.
It wasn't never a law. And our status was that of a slave. So now we were enslaved for all these years, and then we were asked to get in the war to save this nation. That was the Civil War. And we took it on, and we beat the South. When we got in, we beat the South, and we were made a promise. We were promised to be freed.
Correct.
So once you're a status of a slave, once we were emancipated, we became the status of a freedman. Not a race, not black, not colored, not Negro, but a status. And that's very important.
Freedman.
Freedmen. Or freedmen or free women.
I just, I got you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that people are following the conversation, right? Because that comes from a place of me and how I learned about the term, right? Because it was, when you think freedman, you just think a name. You don't think freed person, freed slave, freed man, right? Man inclusive of men, women, and men, right? And so I just want to give that context.
Right.
So go ahead. Yep.
And that's very important, though.
Correct.
Because the United States Constitution, contrary to what people believe, is a race-neutral document.
Okay.
No mention of race in the Constitution. So when you mention race in anything dealing with when you're interfacing with government, it's no such thing.
Okay.
And that's why DEI is going to be eliminated. And that's why there was a fund called the Fearless Fund that was specifically dedicated to black women. But that's a race.
Yeah.
And the Constitution is race neutral. And this is all they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
All they had to do was change it from black women to freedmen women.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will be well within their legal, within the legal basis of getting federal funds, of interacting with
under
funds.
the Constitution.
Under
the Constitution.
exactly.
So people are following, right? The challenge is the DEI part of it, right? If they have used, they meaning whomever are practicing under the idea of DEI and want funds, right? The challenge is using that, right? And DEI and it being taken away because it's not under or within or safely protected under the Constitution.
Right. They
Correct.
have no right to it. Nobody
Absolutely.
has right to anything under the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment except for
Right.
the descendants of slavery.
Got you.
And what's been happening is that everybody else has been eating off our plate
Yeah.
illegally.
Right.
And what this is called inchoate rights or insolent rights.
Okay.
They are rights that are on paper, but everybody ignores them.
Yeah.
It's just like if you are driving down a road 80 miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour zone.
Right.
And everybody is going 80 miles an hour, and there's a police officer sitting right there. You would expect that police officer to stop the speeding.
Correct.
So what's happening to us is the same thing that would happen if a police officer was sitting there at a 40 mile an hour zone, everybody going 80, and the police officer just ignoring it.
Right.
So everybody, including ourselves, we're ignoring our rights. So our rights are no good unless we enforce them. Just like the police officer being there, seeing everybody going 80 miles an hour in a 40, it means nothing until the police officer enforces that.
All right, correct.
So
Okay.
our rights mean nothing until we enforce it.
Okay. All right. So fast forward, right? Fast forward, because we talked about Donald Trump, now our current president. What do you believe was the issue, or why do you think it was such a challenge for Kamala Harris to, I guess, win the candidacy of president versus Donald Trump? What do you think the issue of that was?
The main reason is the failure of the Democratic Party.
I agree with that. Yeah.
The Democratic Party has been ignoring us for decades
Us meaning
as American freedmen, the descendants of slavery.
Right.
Philadelphia City
Black folk,
Council.
black folk.
Nope, not black folk.
right. But so the context we speaking under context for people to understand when you're mentioning that we're us who look like us black folk, but identify as freedmen, truly the descendants of slaves.
Right.
Right.
So-
No, I get that.
But when we say black,
right, I
it
got you.
encompasses
Oh,
all
I got you.
so-called black people.
I got
And
you.
those so-called black people have been, whether they know it or not, they've been stealing our inheritance.
Yes.
And this is
identifying as.
This is
right.
very serious.
Okay, got you.
So take, for example, affirmative action.
Right.
Everybody thinks affirmative action was overturned. Affirmative action was reset. Affirmative action was never for white women. Affirmative action was never
I
for,
agree.
immigrants.
Okay.
They benefited more than who it was intended for.
Okay.
So what the Supreme Court did when the Asian guy went in, it was the Harvard case for affirmative action, he was saying that he was being discriminated against based on his race, trying to use affirmative action, which, by the way, was a executive order, not a law. It was an executive order by JFK. So what I'm saying is that the Supreme Court got it right.
Okay.
The Supreme Court, look, I'm quite sure Clarence Thomas and all of them Supreme Court justices know that it was being misused, but it's not their responsibility to do that. Somebody has to first bring the claim. So what opened it up was when the Asian guy tried to use affirmative action as a way to get into Harvard,
Right.
Because he wasn't smart enough for real.
Okay.
That's the real deal, right? So when he used it, it opened it up for the Supreme Court to set it straight. And that's what the Supreme Court did. They set it straight. They didn't overturn it. So now, American freedmen, those who can define their lineage to 1870, they qualify for admission preference into colleges. Now, I'm upset about that, right? I'm going to tell you why I'm upset. Because
Okay.
I told Isaiah Thomas,
Right.
the education chair,
Okay. So
the education chair in Philadelphia,
So Isaiah Thomas, now sitting member of City Council.
that's right.
Right. So just for people who are kind of like trying to follow you,
Right.
I just want them to kind of walk with you so they kind of get it. Go ahead.
This
Yep.
is very serious,
Okay.
man. I want to explain to you.
Okay.
This is as serious as my ancestors getting their feet cut off. This is serious as my ancestors getting their tongue cut out when they tried to read when they got caught. For someone who teaches at a Sankofa school, which Sankofa is a Dinkra symbol. It's a symbol in African culture, particularly West Africa, right? Which means that you're going to move forward, but you got to look back and you got to remember where you came from.
Correct.
And there's no way that someone who teaches at a Sankofa school, comes out of the freedom schools, should never deny what our most successful ancestors did in the Civil War, in the 13th Amendment,
Okay.
and developing the so-called Black Wall Streets all across the nation. It was because of the 13th Amendment.
Okay.
And for him to deny the structural racism bill that I introduced based on the city study, for him not to say anything to come to me and say, yo, Obona, what can I do? Because I know the history. Right. See, our ancestors died for freedom.
Correct.
They didn't die for the right to vote, but that was part of what we wanted. And for someone to be a descendant of slavery, who have the power to at least introduce legislation on behalf of the descendants of slavery, to not do it, it's treasonous. It's unacceptable.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand this. So you're alleging that, because we can't make an affirmative here, right?
Got you.
So I'm just saying, you're alleging that Isaiah Thomas ignored the legislation that you put out about what?
The structural racism
The
bill,
structural
and
racism.
structural racism is a badge of slavery.
Okay.
Structural racism was outlawed
Right.
by the 13th Amendment. So if you take a vow to uphold the Constitution and you see constitutional violations happening and you're a lawmaker and you say nothing, you need to be thrown in jail.
So can just on the flip side of that, or can one argue, because I don't know, but could he argue or someone argue and say that, Isaiah Thomas didn't really know or understand the brevity of because what I will say, and one thing that I know for a fact, that the brother does some excellent work for our people, especially the youth, right? And so I would be remiss if I didn't say that when we're talking about people who look like us, I'm using the term loosely as black folk, term loosely, right? I know that brother has been doing excellent work when
Okay.
it comes to that.
Okay.
Right?
So you got a young boy outside. He does a breaking and entering, and he assaults somebody, and he breaks the window, right?
Right.
He gets caught. The fact that he doesn't know what the law is doesn't absolve him from the punishment of breaking the law.
Got you. No, fair. That's
So
fair.
because Isaiah Thomas don't know our rights, that's on him. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So because he doesn't know what our rights are, doesn't mean that he shouldn't know it, particularly as a lawmaker. A lawmaker makes laws and don't know the law. How does a lawmaker who is an American freedman don't know the Reconstruction Amendments that freed our ancestors? This is, imagine a Jewish person in Isaiah's position, right?
Okay.
And if,
it's not fair. Okay, I got
or
you.
any of them, or any of them.
I was about to
any
say,
of them,
because
or
that's
any
not
of them.
fair. That's
But
not
it is fair. I'm gonna tell you why it's
okay,
fair.
but it's not fair. Wait. It's not fair to compare Isaiah Thomas to our Jewish brethren.
Why?
Completely. It's
I'm
completely.
gonna tell you why. Let me tell you
all
why it
all
is.
Okay.
Anti-Semitism is the equivalent of structural racism.
I can see the parallel.
I'm speaking facts.
Okay. All right.
Anti-Semitism is being against Jewish people.
Correct.
And structural racism which is a 13th Amendment violation, is against the American freedmen, the people who saved this
Structural
nation.
and systemic. Right.
Right.
Got
So,
you.
that's all. But all of those, when just substitute structural for 13th Amendment violation.
Okay,
For
all
a
right.
badge of slavery.
Okay, all
Because see, we got to get that in the lexicon, because we don't see committing discrimination or structural racism, calling it a crime is not enough, because it's more than a crime. It's a badge of slavery. It's the same thing that happened to our ancestors during slavery, which was abolished by the 13th Amendment.
Okay.
So, for example, we didn't get education, and if we did get education, we got poor education.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we got poor education was abolished with the 13th Amendment, right? But let's fast forward to 2024.
Right.
All over this nation, the descendants of slavery get the worst education. That's a badge of slavery that needs to be addressed by the United States government immediately.
Okay.
These are not some ask. This is what has been mandated
Right.
by the United States Constitution, which is the most powerful document on the planet.
Right.
And if this country prides itself on being the land of the free, and the people who fought to make this land possible have not received the promise from the most powerful nation in the world, that's a 13th Amendment violation. They have to address it immediately. Whoever from Congress hears this, when they hear the words coming out my mouth, they're obligated to address it. That was the promise to our ancestors for whipping them white folks behind in the South that saved this nation. And furthermore, we built the nation in slavery. And then after slavery, every successful, useful invention, we did it.
Yeah.
The descendants of slavery, specifically the freedmen. And for us to be treated with this level of disrespect is akin to what a Jewish people or Holocaust survivors say. I am a 4th generation chattel slavery survivor. And that means something. My ancestors bled for this country. And for this country not to respect that, for the city council members not to respect me when I bring them a grievance and they ignore me, that's dereliction of duty, breach of duty. They should be locked up.
Got you. I agree. I have no debate against that. I agree, especially when it comes to our people, right? And so, but I do want just so people can understand the context. For those who don't understand what the 13th Amendment is, I'm on literally constitutional amendments. Amendment 13, the abolition of slavery. So Amendment 13 of the Constitution, the first of the 3 Reconstruction Amendments, was ratified on December 6, 1865. It forbids chattel slavery across the United States and in every territory under its control, except as a criminal punishment. So I just wanted to give that context. So when he's talking about the 13th Amendment, that's the particular amendment that he's referring to.
But now let me everybody always goes to that part that if you commit a crime, you can be enslaved again. But they forget the part that says all badges, vestiges, and incidents of slavery has to be abolished. Now here's how it has to be handled. Congress has to form a standing committee to finally define all these things, all this racism. Whatever you call racism as an American freedman is a badge of slavery, and Congress is obligated to define those things and outlaw them.
Okay.
And they haven't done it. And the last time that this has been presented before the Supreme Court, it was the Myers case, but the Supreme Court said, look, you're right, this is a 13th Amendment, violation, but Congress has to define these things as a 13th Amendment violation, and they haven't done so as of yet.
Fantastic. So now that we have a full context of that, right? 13th Amendment and everything, and I appreciate your passion on that because I love my people too. I love my people as well. And you're doing this out of love. And this is an obligation that you have, and you committed yourself, and you holding yourself accountable to do so.
So this is what this is.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the continuation of what is law.
Correct. Got you.
So this is not the words coming out my mouth. I'm just repeating what the 39th Congress said, that the descendants of slavery should have into perpetuity.
Okay.
Forever.
Got you.
We have protection too. The federal government is supposed to protect the American freedmen. During the most successful time that we were, when we created the Black Wall Streets, before the sabotage, we had federal protection. Nobody could do anything.
Okay, so because we're talking about that, let's go to a question that someone sent in. She said, Techno Girl, she said, but we need to know those rights, right?
Absolutely.
And so to that point, right, how could someone who's watching this, right, who's listening to you and have a light bulb like, oh my gosh, I love this, or I need to understand, how can they find out their rights as a freedman?
Hey man, you know what? Let me just tell you something. Whoever organized this for me to be here, it took me a while to get a date together, and then I was threatened.
Wait.
No, in a good way.
I was about to say, you don't play that.
In a good way.
No,
I was threatened that if I didn't nail down this date, it would be, 2 months later.
Oh, yeah,
right?
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So the irony in this is that we just launched the website about 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
So it was just perfect timing. And
the stars aligned. Yeah.
It just aligned. And everything is spelled out at freedmencoalition.org.
Got you. Freedmencoalition.org.
Freedmen Coalition, because we are the Philadelphia reparations coalition for American freedmen.
Okay,
So it's
interesting.
no mistake as to who we're, and we don't play the race card.
Okay.
We deal with status.
Gotcha.
So nobody can ever accuse us of playing race. And really, we may not want to admit it, but American freedmen, they play the race card.
Yeah. Okay. So look. So as you had a question.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
go
wanted
ahead,
to know
Spark.
when you just said that, how does it like specifically address the needs of the community
How does what address the needs?
for your Freeman Affairs?
Oh, so what we're working on now is the establishment or the reestablishment of an Office of Freedmen Affairs within the city of Philadelphia, which makes us an actual part of the government. So the LGBTQ community, they have an office within the city of Philadelphia. The African and Caribbean folk, they have an office within the city of Philadelphia. The people who saved the nation, who built the nation, the American freedmen do not have an office within the city of Philadelphia. How do we justify that for the last 40 plus years of all these so-called black mayors, all these so-called black city council presidents, all these so-called black city council members, and they don't feel the need for the descendants of slavery, the ones that if you take away everything that we created,
Right.
this would be an empty world.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have an office.
I got you. You know, I always, because we play devil's advocate here, because we're nonpartisan. Like, we don't side anywhere. We got our own side. We talk weekly side, right? And so I like to just say, right, just to be fair, right, that I want to make sure that if we're talking in the affirmative, we have to understand that they know. Right?
Who are they?
We're talking about city, because you mentioned city
Okay,
council,
right.
right?
They know.
Right, they.
Okay.
So they at city council, right?
Right.
That they know that this is happening, or they know that it should be an office, or they know that someone reached out to them to support this, right? I'm assuming that you already did your due diligence with this.
Okay.
We Talk Weekly is pretty much saying that we don't know if they did that, right? So there is us knowing, because our history has always been open to give platform for anyone and everyone, right? We don't, I mean, if Donald Trump wanted to come in, he might get grilled a little bit, but he has the invitation to come and talk his position, right? But we like to give the opportunity to say, okay, well then what's your side then? Like, do you know this? To give them that you know, that ability to have a voice also,
So,
right? So that said, right? That said, I want to make sure that we're being fair when it comes to making an affirmative to say that they didn't do X, Y, and Z.
I'm so glad you asked that question, brother.
Okay, there you go. We're just doing our due diligence.
You have to, and
Yeah.
let me give you a pound on that, seriously. Because you are a good journalist.
Thank you.
Because you ask the questions that a lot of these folks who are on these other stations don't ask.
Okay.
For the last 2 years, I've been speaking on the record, on YouTube, everything. I gave them the bills, told them that their study said that the root cause of gun violence is structural racism. Their study said that the solution is large-scale investments, not $50,000 grants, $100,000 grants, $1 billion, $2 billion to make North Philly right now with us there
Right.
to look like Chestnut Hill in less than 10 years. That is within the power of the mayor, city council, but guess what? They don't know our rights and they don't know their power. And everybody say, hey, Obona, nobody else is saying this. Al Sharpton is not saying this, and I never heard Dr. King say this, and I never heard Malcolm and all these people, and Tavis Smiley. I never heard all them people say this, right?
Right.
There's always been a discovery of something all the time.
Sure.
Why is it so hard to believe that myself and my team have come up with something and discovered something that, as Dr. King said, truth crushed the earth will rise again? This is just the truth rising again that Dr. King prophesized. Dr. King never talked about the 13th Amendment.
Right.
Dr. King when he skipped over the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was the beginning of structural of civil rights in the world. There was not civil rights before the American freedmen.
Okay.
So I'm saying, for the people who created civil rights, for the people who created everything in this world that is useful, for the people who created whole towns straight out of slavery with the promise that of the 13th Amendment, they gave. See, people think that the newly freed slaves just built everything out of nowhere.
Right.
Well, how did they chop the trees down to make the lumber? Where did they get the nails from? Where did they get the seeds from? Where did they get the fertilizer? Where did they get everything that they needed to build a town?
Right.
The government was obligated to give it to them. The same way that the government is obligated to give it to us now.
I got you. All right. So fast forward, 'cause, like, I could talk to you all day. I can talk to you all evening about this.
Man, brother,
So,
it's so much.
I know.
And I'm
I got
saying
you.
this. It would be well worth for your, because this is new stuff.
Okay.
This interview here,
Right.
ain't nobody, no, man,
Yeah.
ain't nobody talk about this like this.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so this is something that really should be pushed out in the reparations world,
Okay.
so they can see exactly what we're doing here in Philly.
Right. Well, you go to WeTalkWeekly.com. You'll see, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube page because this will be there. So I want to talk a little bit about because I say this because one of the things people know about We Talk Weekly is that we talk truth to power, and we're 100% when it comes to our accountability and our support in the community, right? We don't shy away from that, and we try our best to keep it 100 with whatever we say, right? And so I would be remiss if I didn't say that there's a lot of city council members who have actually come to our show, right? And they're actually out there doing the work.
What's doing the work?
Well,
What's your definition of doing the work?
I'll say and that's a great question. That's a great question. So our definition of doing the work is if you're saying that you're out in the community and you're doing X, Y, and Z, and I know for a fact that We Talk Weekly is out in the community.
Right.
If I see you on a back block, if I see you in places where even I shudder to go,
Right.
and I see you there, you doing the work.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people within our leadership, right, that won't go to certain places but feel like they have all the answers in fixing certain things, right? And so when I say doing the work, we could say loosely, right? I'm saying I'm seeing them in the community doing certain things that they have been arguably campaigning on that they will do and actually doing that. Okay. So that's what I mean, cool. Right? So in terms of, I guess, the even Project 13 and some of the work that you're doing, I can't speak to that, right? But what I will say is I'm seeing certain people, like Omar Sabir was here. He's the first commissioner who I have ever seen not only give out this information, but on the corner doing what he's supposed to do and giving the people information.
Okay.
I never have seen that. I actually got a video of him doing it. And I just happened to not know. I just happened to be driving and was like, yo, I never seen this before. Stopped and got some footage of it.
Cool.
Because I never seen that, right? So when we talk about people that need to be amplified for actually doing some service, it's stuff like that in which I'm talking to. Because often we get positions like, not necessarily saying that you're doing a bad thing, right? Because the facts and information needs to be out there. But oftentimes we see a lot of people making criticisms or being very hard on certain people in leadership positions and not giving the other side.
Gotcha.
So that's my position. That's all I'm saying.
So
Gotcha.
marketing and advertising can make a rotten apple look
Look
beautiful.
good. Yeah, I get you.
So
That's true.
Because you see politicians out in the community.
Right.
See, here's my question.
Okay.
What is the job of a city council person?
I'm sure you're going to let us know.
To create and amend law.
Okay.
That's it.
Technically, you talk about the technical
No, but-
job description.
So
Okay.
it looks good when you're giving out food. It looks good when
We're
you're
not just
giving
talking about shaking hand, kissing babies,
Okay,
and giving
give
out
me an
turkeys.
example of what they do.
Listen, I'm not saying just shaking hand, giving out turkeys and kissing babies. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about actually talking to the community.
But he's giving false information.
Who giving false information?
Omar Sabir.
All right, so I'm not going to get in that
No,
because
we
I
have
don't
to.
know. No,
I'ma tell
no,
you what
wait,
it is,
wait,
though.
no,
Okay.
no. I can't talk on something that I don't necessarily know to get to either defend, confirm, nor deny, right? And so, what I can say, right, which is what I stated, that if I go out, if We Talk Weekly goes out, and we're seeing someone come in here and say, "Hey, well, I have been on the corners. I have been doing certain things that I've never seen commissioners do, and I'm going to go out there." And I happen to pop up and see you. I'm like,
Gotcha.
interesting, right? If I see someone like who I'm not even a Republican, if I see a Republican come in here and sit at the table and say, "I have been to and supported people who look like me, and you don't look like me," like David O. I have seen him in communities that some of the people who look like me don't even go into. Parties that they don't even go to. He's there, he's standing and supporting individual or black entrepreneurs. I have seen him do that. So I can vouch that I have been there and seen him. I can't talk about nothing else. I'm talking about what I seen. So that's all we do. We don't make up information here. We got journalists here, right? And so we give the facts that we know.
So let me give you the facts about. So one thing that look at the voter turnout.
Right?
Look at the amount of voters that actually turn out and vote, and then say that the commissioner is doing a great job.
Okay. All right.
Because he's not motivating and inspiring the mass majority of people to come out and actually vote.
And how would he do that? How about let's talk the solution. How would he do that?
How did everybody flip from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris overnight?
Flip from Joe. How?
One moment it was Joe Biden is fine, Joe Biden is fine, right? Then the very next day, Kamala Harris.
Listen.
How
I
did that happen?
100%. I'm 100%.
But how did that happen?
Listen, I 100% agree with that. I think that was a poor job with the Democratic Party. What I will say, however, we're talking about the commissioner.
No, but what I'm saying
We're
is
talking
that
about right?
they marketed and advertised.
I just want an affirmative. Are we talking about the commissioner? Yes or no?
Yes,
All right, cool.
they've marketed and advertised
right.
so that everybody.
But we were talking about the commissioner. I'm saying, right, that we were talking about the work that the commissioner, this Philadelphia city, we were talking about Philly, right? The PA. Is he PA or Philadelphia? He PA.
Philadelphia,
right? And so the job that I seen him do, that was just kind of like a conversation moment on what I seen. So when we talk about a national election, right? He don't have anything to do with
I'm
that.
not talking about the national election. I'm talking about, let's look at the local election.
Our local election.
If somebody can pull up the voter turnout.
Right, okay.
Look at the registered voters.
Okay.
How many there are and how many actually come out.
Okay.
And then let's look at the whole population.
I got you.
So
I
now
got
for
you.
me, if I was the commissioner,
Okay.
I know how to speak to young people. Mm-hmm. Not the BS stuff. I know exactly, because I'm out there in the streets really
You
talking
are.
to them.
But
So-
again, which is why you
but-
have a platform here,
No.
because I see you.
But what happens
right?
is that in marketing and advertising, you know that a person has to see something at least 10 times before they begin to want to.
100%.
And so why isn't that same energy placed in getting people out to vote
Okay.
by the commissioner in the commissioner's office and the ones before him and before him and before him and before him?
I can't talk to that, but what I can say, which is the reason why I said I seen a contrast, was because I seen the Omar Sabir do certain things I never seen a
But
commissioner
what
do.
has been the result of that, though? If it hasn't produced an increase of voter turnout,
Okay.
that's just something that somebody does. If I'm going to go out and
I
do
agree.
something, I have to see a result. So, like what we're doing right now,
Right.
It started off as just a conversation on the
Absolutely.
phone, right,
Absolutely.
with the people with the Reparations Coalition, right?
Right.
And then it moved from that point to another point. Then somebody else came on board.
Right.
And they recognized the truth. They were honest.
Yeah.
They weren't just playing. Look,
I agree.
we got to look at the connections in politics in Philadelphia. It's nepotism running all wild. So what you see,
100%,
but what you
100%
see,
that part.
but what you see is not what you really see. You don't see the family connections in Philadelphia politics. The book is coming out.
Right.
Oh, I got a book coming out, brother.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, about this whole thing, me running for office and how the Democrats that's pushed me. Why would the Democrats push somebody out that's speaking about the betterment of their people?
Right.
Wait a minute. Again, I keep making the comparison because whenever there's a mention of anti-Semitism, people jump at attention. When there's a mention of structural racism, oh, well.
Yeah.
Because that's, again, you're ignoring the rights that are on paper. So what my mission is to get us to understand our rights, to get young, because this is really not, this is a young folks, this is about y'all money.
Yeah. No, I got
Look,
you.
at least $800,000. You're old. You're a descendant of slaves. That's in writing. And the 13th Amendment guarantees you that and more.
Okay.
The money that the Negro Leagues lost. See, we don't think about the Negro Leagues, and they were put out of business by Major League Baseball.
Right.
There is a lawsuit to be developed for the descendants of the people who owned the buses and the stadiums and the concession stands. They were put out of business because of a 13th Amendment violation, because the United States government allowed the Major League Baseball to bankrupt the Negro League.
Well, you just answered my question, because my question was, what do you believe was the most impactful reparation that we get?
Reparations is the 13th Amendment, so it's whatever it takes. There is no set number. There is no amount. The 13th Amendment guaranteed equality.
Right.
So whatever it takes to bring the descendants up to equality with white folk.
Well, what does that look like, though? It's
whatever it takes. It's Alan Greenspan, the former Fed chair, said there is no debt that America can't pay. So it doesn't matter what it is. So it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
If it's $1 million for you and maybe $2 million, it doesn't matter.
All right. Yeah.
America can do it. America is the most powerful nation in the world, and the Reparations Coalition is holding them accountable.
That's right.
For abiding by what the 39th Congress said. The 39th Congress said absolute equality. They didn't say grants. They didn't say a funding formula. They said absolute equality. And I keep going back to the politicians because I don't have a degree.
Right.
I didn't go to law school.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? These folks got all kinds of degrees. You know why? They're social climbers.
Got you. So one thing I do want to say, right, just to put an exclamation point or to finish the conversation with Omar Sabir is, would you acknowledge this as a true statement? You could take a horse to the well, but you can't make them drink.
Yes, you can. I'm gonna tell you how.
Okay.
How are all these young girls? How are all these young girls shaking their behind?
What?
Because they see it all the time.
Wait.
They
I'm
see
trying
it
to
all the
We're
time.
talking about voting.
Right. But what I'm saying, if the people who we want to vote saw the twerking and the what, Glorillaz and all those people, the same. If the people who we want to get to vote, if we expose that, the same way that those behinds and sex, drugs, and murder is sold all the time, 24/7.
Okay.
If we sold voting, if we sold our rights, if we sold the truth, if that was sold, the same way that all this other mess that makes millions and millions of dollars, use the same formula.
All right, but I know I'm not with the position that you can make a horse drink if they don't want to do it, right? But what I will say is, I do in some part agree that if the position or the narrative or the information was pushed the same way they push on the radio, every other song, you hear a Glorilla telling you to do X, Y, and Z. You turn on the next day, you see X, Y, and Z. You turn it on YouTube, TikTok, IG, Facebook, every other day. Then yeah, you're kind of programmed to do that. I'm not seeing voting done every other day, every 15 minutes, every hour, on the hour, every day, everywhere I'm not seeing that.
So here's what Omar Sabir could do. He could request funding that's required for him to do his job.
Now we just got a solution.
And I'm saying I have a million of them and see what it is.
Now we just got a solution.
They don't listen to me.
We're solutions based, right? I'm just saying, right? Okay.
All I've been doing is bringing solutions based on the Constitution to city council week in and week out and week in and week out and week in and week out, and they ignore me. You know why? It's called benign neglect. Ignore the Negro. Pay attention to the immigrants. Pay attention to somebody who is illegal, who knows their rights, who don't vote, But the politicians pay keen attention to those folk. But those who save the nation, who vote, who they keep, why they never told the Latinos to vote the way they told us to vote? Why they didn't tell Chinese people to vote the way they told us to vote? Why they didn't push it down their throat? The Democrats did that. Now, I'm going to tell you what the Republicans did for me.
Okay.
The Republicans called Obona and said, Obona, you want to make some extra money? You can be a supervisor on voting day. You have some friends and family that want to make some money. They can be poll watchers.
Hold on, you saying they, right? They.
My friends and family, whoever I know that
That
are
are Republicans.
No, they can be Democrat or Republican.
No, you said you said Republicans. You said let me tell you, the Republicans called me.
The Republican Party in Philadelphia.
Okay, all right, cool.
So I'm saying I'm a Democrat. Over the years that I've been involved going down city council and doing what I do, there's not been one Democrat that has said, Obona, you can be a supervisor on a poll watcher, and you can get some of your friends you know who may need some extra money this one day. They can make $200.
Right.
David O calling me. You spoke about David O.
Yeah.
David O, for the record, if you look at his record, he's done more for the descendants of slavery to fight for us than the ones who are American free. This is just fact. I'm not taking
which goes to exactly the point that I just made. Right. David O, he has been doing the work.
Why aren't the ones who are the descendants of slavery doing the same work that David is? David is Korean.
Right, but you can't say that none of them are doing it.
Yes, I can.
No,
I have proof
I've
of it.
I've seen people out there that are not Republicans actually doing some similar things like David O.
Like who?
Like, who did I see out there? Honestly, when you talk about Isaiah Thomas, I have seen him out there. He came to the show a couple times as he was running, a few times that he ran. A lot of people thought that this was the first time he ran like 3-4 times.
As the education chair.
Okay.
As the education chair and a descendant of slavery.
Right.
And a legislator.
Okay.
And he knows that the descendant of slavery still have admission preference. Right. And I submitted a bill several times at city council, handed them out that you can see it on the camera. And the education chair never responded to let the descendants of slavery who go to school in Philadelphia, who are seniors, let them know that they have admission preference. There is absolutely no excuse for that.
No, I got that. So we going back to that, right? But so okay, I can say, all right, someone didn't do X, Y, and Z, but they did this, that, and the other. Two things can be accurate. Two things can be correct, right?
Don't we press education?
Right, but you're going. I'm not saying. So out of the conversation of education, you ask me what have he?
But he's the education chair.
I got you.
Of the education. So anything dealing with education.
Fair enough.
That's his responsibility.
Fair enough.
So if someone brings him a bill to deal with his people,
okay.
Let's just say I was bringing something to a Jewish person that represented that benefited their people. That Jewish person would snatch it out my hand and do it immediately. But the question needs to be asked. And listen, let me just say this.
Right.
I'm not afraid of none of them. Bring them right here. Bring them right here. And I've been calling for a debate with any of them. These are lawmakers who are elected. You know why they don't want to debate me? Because they don't know the rights of the people who they claim to want to represent. Wow. And they will hear this, and they should want to clear their name.
Right.
If somebody accused me of not knowing something and I know it, no, bring it on. We're going to have a versus right now.
All right, hold on. I'll give you a round of applause. All right, so look, we talk weekly after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia, 106.5 FM. We talk weekly after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lawrence.
And the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And the beautiful Lady Stott. She in there. All right, so, geez. So, all right, and all right. So I want to. Unfortunately, that went longer than I expected, and I want to invite you back to the show. You are a friend to the show, and once you come, you're a friend to the show. We already have our next guest, Dr. Anna Necia. I think it's Necia. No, she said I was wrong. She gonna correct us anyway. I'm sorry, Doc. I call you Dr. Williams. Is that okay? Yeah, she said, yeah, that's okay.
So since I'm welcome to come back, I can call you all the time.
Yes.
I'm not going to lose connection.
No, absolutely. Please don't.
We're not.
Okay.
I have an assistant. So I'm going to, put this at the top of our list,
Right,
the
right.
media list, because we got a lot of stuff that we would love to break it on the
Absolutely.
show. Here, you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm inviting you to the show. We give everyone a platform. I guess for We Talk Weekly, because we try our best to stay in the middle, right? We give everybody a platform, but we do say that we want to be fair, right? And so if someone does make an accusation, whether it's right or wrong, right, we still saying, okay, well, what's the other side of the coin, right? If that's what this person is saying, okay, let's substantiate that. Let's get some facts based on it. You know what I mean? One thing I will say, because I want to give you your flowers, when I say people that's actually doing the work, you are doing the work. You have been doing the work, and you have been doing this for a long time. You ran for city council. Twice. I know that. I know that you have been galvanizing the community. I know that you have been putting in work. I know that you have been giving your sneakers program. I know that you have been giving people who are part of those vulnerable communities that need just something on their feet. I know you've been working with the unhoused. I know that's what I mean about people who have been doing the work. Right? I'm not talking about all of the other things, right? I'm talking about you truly being that angel for those who need you. And so that's what I mean about doing the work. So I just want to give you your flowers and say thank you for that, because you have been supporting our communities, or in your terms, the freedmen who need you.
That's right, my man. Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, it's good to hear that coming from a young bull, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if you're 30 or what, man.
I ain't no young bull, but
but I'm just saying, regardless, I know I'm a little bit older, and to hear that, man, is just inspiring for me.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing. Please continue doing what you do.
No doubt.
And we appreciate you, my brother. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So, hey, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That went longer than we expected, but it was a good conversation, right?
Great conversation.
Can someone walk him down, please? Oh, lady at stock gonna take him out. So brother, I'll be in contact with you. Thank you again. Yes. So we talk weekly after the talk. So guys, and I'm sorry, Liberty has been in here questioning. Yo, we got him hot. I hear you, Liberty. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get any of your questions in. What he's selling isn't wanted anymore. I got you. You know, a lot of conversational people have become, to a degree, desensitized when it comes to race talk, right? The whole idea of identity politics, right? Which I believe was part of the problem with Kamala Harris' campaign, right? I do feel that, like people like Liberty who have been watching this, I got to give them their flowers because they have been watching, right? Liberty, where are you from? I think you said L.A. Let me know where you from.
I think Liberty also said they were a Democrat.
They're Democrat, and they have been watching. And I'm sorry, I wasn't able to get some of your questions in there. The Black and Latino vote shifted to Trump because of guys like him. I get it, and Vegas. Here we go. Let me pull it up so everyone can see it. So they live in Vegas, previously California.
Right.
And so they're coming from a different perspective, even from Philadelphia, right? And so I do want to acknowledge Liberty because they have a voice also. They may be contradicting or contrast to maybe my position or even someone who we have here, but they still have a voice. And it needs to be at least given. But I just want to appreciate you, Liberty, for continuing to watch and support. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tell everyone to talk, tell everyone about We Talk Weekly. But if anyone, make sure y'all rewatch this. This was a little heated, man. I wasn't anticipating that, but it was great. And so let me cut to a break, and then real quick, we're going to bring the doctor on. I know she's going to correct me. And I'm sorry, Dr. Williams. I want to make sure I get the sister name accurate because she deserved that. But real quick, I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, we got Dr. Williams on. Let me see if I can how can they hear us? Let's go to Alexa. We'll be right back, y'all, after this. What's going on? This your favorite fly guy, Charles Gregory, We Talk Weekly. Listen, everyone always asks me, they inbox me, email me, all types of things.
we're trying to find your podcast. I mean, we can find your videos everywhere. All we have to do is go to WeTalkWeekly.com, or all we need to do is go to YouTube, or all we need to do is turn on Business Bully Channel, turn on Higher Than 7, turn on, we can find you. But sometimes I just want to work out and I want to listen to your podcast. I want to hear the latest in the sizzle, entertainment news, or good news and bad news, or just simply, I want to hear the interviews, from music, anything sports. I just want to listen. And I don't know where to find your podcast. I said, you know what? It's real simple. All you have to do is ask the right person. Watch this. Hey Alexa, play We Talk Weekly's podcast.
Here's We Talk Weekly from Amazon Music. Here's where you left off in the latest episode. Olivia Jade Red Table Talk, Kevin Hart Backlash for Netflix special No F's Given, and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to We Talk Weekly's After the Talk. And I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
See, I told you. It's not that hard, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is ask the right person. Ask Alexa. Look, I'm out here. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting. Keep subscribing. Keep telling people to chime in. We out here like last year. I love.
After the Talk on WPP MLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weekly's After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And we are here with another episode of We Talk Weekly with another dynamic interview that I'm super excited to have. I want to make sure that I can get this camera. This camera been acting up. I want to make sure that I get all my folks. And so, next interview we got coming up, right? Let me pull her. I'm gonna just preface that this sister, she was supposed to come on before, right? And unfortunately, we was having some technical issues, right? The audio, something was going on. I'm sure she'll let us know. But yeah, I want to make sure that we get her name accurate. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull her up first, and then my sister, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How you doing? Can you please tell me how to pronounce your name accurately?
Yes. So it's Ananicia.
Ananicia. All right. So we're going to give you we're going to give you your due diligence, right? And we're going to make sure that we tell your background first, and then we're going to bring you back on. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, we just wanted to make sure we got your name accurate, my sister. All right, so we'll be right back, y'all. So, Spark, you got it?
I do.
All right, Spark, why don't you let us know who do we have today?
Today we have Dr. Ananicia Williams, is a collective care practitioner and founder of Momology Maternal Wellness Club, LLC, where she supports wellness and maternal child health through culturally rooted practices. A 3-time Spalding University graduate, and she also teaches as an adjunct professor and advocate for community healing and wellness as paths to liberation. There's so much more to this wonderful doctor, so we're going to give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Dr. Ananicia. I think I still messed it up, Dr. Williams.
It's okay. I've heard worse. So y'all close.
Okay, say it one more time for us.
Ananicia. So if you think about Frozen, Anna, when you started off, and then me, and then C, so Ananicia.
Awesome. Okay, got it. All right. How are you today?
I'm good. It feels super late, but I'm feeling good. Excited to be here with you all.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we're happy that there's no technical problems this time around. So we're going to be able to delve right into all that you're doing. So tell us, what things are you into right now? Tell us about how you got into wellness and momology.
Yes. So my background, I'm a clinical social worker. So a lot of our work is rooted in social justice. Early on, I knew I wanted to serve my people when it comes to that mental and psychological well-being. But what I learned over time is, being a mom myself, there was no space for Black women who are wanting to conceive, who are parents, to be held through their journey of parenting. But then I also do some work around reproductive justice too. So supporting Black women when it comes to their reproductive rights and health. and also have the opportunity to teach in the classroom to social work students as well.
Oh, wow.
So what, you mentioned the reproductive justice. What are some of your biggest concerns in this post-election era when it comes to reproductive justice?
One thing is I am afraid of what we may lose when it comes to losing the Biden-Harris administration. So a lot of their administration was focused on maternal health, focused on Black women when it comes to maternal mortality. So I am fearful that we're going to lose funding. I'm fearful that it's going to be harder to get access to the funding when it comes to centering Black women in their bodies and their choices of being a parent, of not being a parent as well. The other thing I'm just concerned about is just the deterioration of our bodies mentally, because we are literally walking into a new president and they do not align with many of our values. And so I'm worried of how that's going to impact us navigating the day to day.
Wow. So, and what state are you in, if you could let people know?
Yes, so I am in Kentucky, but let me be clear, I'm in Louisville. Louisville is very different from the whole state of Kentucky. When you think about it, they think of country, red state, but Louisville is more urban.
Okay. So what, I guess, how are you planning, or is there a plan for the way you're going to approach, reproductive justice going forward?
Oh, absolutely. So holding containers for us, for Black women. Today, I got to partner with some really great partners at the University of Louisville and then a grassroots organization as well. And so we actually did a womb wellness workshop where we center Black women when it comes to their reproductive health around PCOS, endometriosis, and fibroids. So we learned how to make tinctures, bath salts, and then we also learned about herbal teas and how do you advocate for yourself in the healthcare system.
And you mentioned that you may not know, based on the new presidential leadership that we have, that you may not know where that leads us as far as the resources. What can we do as a unity to try to, I guess, prevent the worst of of what that is, and to get those resources? What would you suggest that the American people do, especially people of color?
I want to encourage us to fund those grassroots organizations in your communities. I want us to also consider doing mutual aid. So not necessarily relying on the government and funders, that we fund each other, we support one another. We also come back to the table and strategize, and we be more strategic of not always sharing our plans on social media, but really just having conversations amongst each other and organizing in a way that can be impactful, but also support our collective care in our initiatives.
No, listen, I'll jump in. I like to sometimes defer to the ladies as it relates to issues that affects them, right? One thing that I wanted to ask you, Doctor, is there has been conversation, or after this election, right? Seeing the results, right? Brothers feeling that they have been targeted in the lack, should I say, of support for Kamala Harris, right? Or by way of, the sisters villainizing them, or feeling like, y'all don't protect, or y'all don't do anything, but numbers kind of state that, we came out and we did our job, right? Mm-hmm. And so some of us feeling like we kind of, deserve an apology here. We was beat up a lot. So what's your take on, the narratives that has circulated before the election that, the brothers wasn't doing their due diligence, or brothers wasn't protecting women, or if they, I guess, had a contrasting thought, then, they didn't like, they didn't like her because she was a woman, or all of these different narratives that I was hearing as it relates to Black men. And it kind of marginalized us, right? We started to feel vulnerable to a degree. What's your thoughts on that, based on, in context, some of the work that you have been doing? You know what I mean? So what's your thoughts on it?
I think it was intentional to put us against each other.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yes.
that we are divided. Also, when I have conversations with my lady friends, of making sure that they are aware that they're not personalizing things and basing it off their own narrative, and really thinking about how do black men show up, that you may not have had a great experience with them, but like I see the brothers showing up. And so I actually had the opportunity to organize an event here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I actually invited Mike the Poet, and we talked about, do you trust black women? And so to have a room full of black women, to hear how black men show up, to hear how they've been organizing, getting people out to vote, I think sometimes we don't create enough spaces where people can actually see and
Yeah,
interact with the opposite sex,
that's
especially
right.
in a healthy manner.
Yes. Hold on. Let me give you a round of applause again. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yep.
No, you're good, but we have to change that narrative, and I hope that people see that the numbers don't lie, and I hope that now that you see the numbers, it is putting a stamp on it that these brothers do show up. So then, how do we keep pulling them into the space and not lose that momentum? And we have to just be mindful that we need to make room for them too in the work that we do.
I love that you said that, right? Because I had to reflect a lot after this, right? And take a position of not being angry, but more so that I don't want to hear anything about the brothers no more. I don't want to hear anything about the sisters no more. All I want to hear is about community, our community. Because we have to start. I think this time, at this point, is about us getting together and strategizing and supporting our own. And that's where I'm at this point, right? Because I think there has been a lot of individualism, you know, as it relates to us, the gender, so to speak. And I think we need to start to come together and say, loosely, all we got is us, and we need to do the work together.
That part. And a lot of people aren't educated on the history of Jim Crow's, the historical context of like, this was written in our history, but that doesn't have to be what we continue to live out. And so, how do we shape our own narrative with healing? Which is why I'm really big on collective care and people doing their individual care. So we can really work through what our ancestors went through, generations went through, and we can change moving forward of what it looks like to be in community.
Dr. Williams, what's your perspective on the landscape of abortion rights as far as with the new election and the overturn of Roe versus Wade?
So I live in Kentucky. I have changed how I have that conversation with people and saying we are a forced birth state. So that means that individuals don't have a choice if they want to actually become a parent. What's also missing in that dialogue is sex education, because we don't talk about that when you do participate in this act. These are some of the things that could be the outcome. This is some of the things that may look like when it comes to being a parent, having to navigate that, but then holding space for people of what it looks like to parent. We oftentimes say abstinence. We oftentimes say you should refrain from that, but we don't allow people to talk about sexual pleasure and well-being. And so there's this misconception of what it actually means to have children. And then when people get pregnant, it's like, what do you do with that? At the same time, I believe in people having the choice in what they choose to do. What I am afraid of, and I don't know if you all knew this, Black women have died, especially in Georgia, seeking abortion care, but because they couldn't get the care that they needed because they had to go out of state, we lost Black women. So then that's impacting this maternal health that we already see with Black women in the poor outcomes.
Now, I don't know if there's a study done or not in this, and I know that there's a lot of variables as far as the abortion, as far as a woman myself on, and even people that I know, family members, on why women get abortions, such as sometimes age, rape, incest. But do you believe that financial barriers play even a larger role than that and factors on people on the whole reproductive, care or abortion?
Yeah, so what the data does tell us is that most people who are seeking abortions are already parents. So they're having this decision that they have to make of financially, could I really bring another child into this world? We also don't give enough education on contraceptives and how to use them properly. But what we're seeing also with individuals seeking abortion care is, what if my body cannot follow through with this pregnancy? So I'm at risk of dying, and so I'm choosing to have an abortion. So there's many different factors as far as the pregnancy not being viable. People are being forced to follow through and carry that child through, even though they may have learned that that child may have fetal abnormalities as well.
Doctor, I have a question for you. What would you say to a young lady who understanding where we are now with what the president said about abortion, right? And their position on it, right? What would you say to a young lady who is now very scared, right? Moving forward with the possibility, or maybe someone who is pregnant now, right? What would you say to someone now if they are feeling that maybe this isn't where they would like to go, in need, or would like to, get a procedure done? What would you tell this young lady now?
So for the individual who is not pregnant but is fearful, what I would tell them is to really educate themselves and really understand their choice. Also really understand, do you want to be a parent and what that all entails? Even if you do choose to have sex, being mindful of what the risk and outcomes could be. And so also being aware of, maybe I should go take some sex education classes. Maybe I should be educated on what do Plan Bs do and how do they work as well. I should probably be talking to my OBGYN and just talking about what are my plans for later on when it comes to my reproductive future. For the individual who is pregnant, I will say abortions are still happening in certain states. What makes it hard is getting to those states, the funding, the travel, having the support. We are also now fearful because they are trying to criminalize people who are seeking abortions, and even looking at people who support those individuals to criminalize them too. And so we really have to be mindful of doing things. It's almost like we're going underground now, because we have to be so protective of what this looks like and being able to access healthcare.
Wow. Can you tell us more about Momology and what services do you provide?
Is mammology? How do you say that?
Momology.
Mammology. Okay, got you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes. So I'm a private practice. I mostly see individuals on one-on-one level, but also what I've been doing more is group support and then doing these collective care containers. So what I realized in working with individuals one-on-one is a lot of people feel isolated. A lot of people feel as if I'm the only one. They're seeking connection, and they're also wanting to build sisterhood and community. So being more intentional of carving out those spaces where they can connect with other women, particularly Black women too. And I've also been going the holistic route of inviting in other practitioners. So I may invite a herbalist. I may invite someone who does yoga so we can move our body. I may invite someone as well that is a spiritual practitioner too. So inviting people in to see there's multiple layers when it comes to your healing, that therapy doesn't have to be that one way and that one route to your healing journey or just your overall wellness.
Yeah, I think you said something. I was going to ask a question that I think you just answered, because it says clinical background to curate therapeutic spaces rooted in cultural and ancestral practices. Can you expand upon that? Yeah.
Yeah, so while I serve everyone, I primarily serve Black women. My research was around sister circles. And so sister circles is where I may be the one who is the facilitator, but I get to participate in this group. It's led by all of us. We pick a certain topic and we're learning from one another, but we create a safe space. We also ensure that when it comes to our culture, we're going to have food involved. We're also going to have childcare involved as well. So if people don't feel that strain of I can't participate because I have children, We're also going to do things when it comes to going back to the roots. We may be outside, we may be out in the grass, really connecting with the earth. We also may be incorporating herbs as well. And so allowing people to understand what else is good when it comes to your overall well-being, like with teas and tinctures. And then we also are doing things of really understanding where we come from. Our people have always taken care of one another. So getting back to that collective care too, and that village mentality.
Doc, you have to answer this for me. Please explain this. A 3-time Spalding University graduate, earning her bachelor's art psychology, master's of social work, doctor of social work, specializing in leadership. Come on. Hold on, let me give you a round of applause real quick. Jeez. So that's a mouthful. Right? So what led you in that direction to continue to get a background and then go back and get more of a background and extrapolate on that and develop more of a background? What pushed you to do that?
I would say my family. So I've always reflected on what I did not have access to. So even if my parents couldn't give me the knowledge and pass things down, they always put me in the spaces of being able to learn from others. And the more I learned, the more I just craved the knowledge. And then it just kept going of like, well, let's see if I can go to the next level. And let's see if I can go to the next level. And it just happened. And I mean, I love learning, but I also take what I learned and then bring it back to community. And so utilizing the tool of education to also help my people.
I love that. So that said, let's talk about mom and dad, and if you have any siblings. Do they have a background like yours, or did they encourage? No, what? Okay. She said, no, not at all.
They know I'm going to tell this story, but my grandmother will remind them of when I was younger. She said, I came into her house and I said, my parents need help. I'm going to be a therapist. So, growing up in my environment, that was chaotic. And, I can have this candid conversation with my parents now of I learned a lot of what not to do. And they also thought because I was silent, I wasn't remembering and I didn't know what was going on. So I just knew like something wasn't right. And then once I got into these spaces and I was making the connections, it also helped me understand my family and human behavior.
Wow.
What, doctor, what could you tell the men out there that when a woman is pregnant and, she's going through different hormonal changes, or she just has the baby and she's going through postpartum and things like that, what could you tell the couple as a whole, different advice that will help them during their journey?
So for the couple, I want to allow them to give themselves grace. And no pregnancy is the same. So even if they have previous children too, patience with one another. As for the man, I also want to encourage him to insert himself, because oftentimes in the spaces, they don't have conversations with the man when they're going to the checkups and appointment. So ensure that he is engaged, he's asking questions, but also the woman allowing, them to reflect back and say, oh, my man, my husband, direct this to him as well, so that they also see that they are a unit and they're navigating in that way, especially if someone decides that they are going to birth in a hospital. The other thing is you got to communicate. You got to talk about what's our birthing plan, what are our expectations. People have hopes and dreams when it comes to parenting, but most times I've noticed they're not aligned when it comes to what this is supposed to look like. And so oftentimes once a baby comes, you see some separation because mom may be bonding with baby too much. The partner may feel like I'm not getting enough attention, but how do you still carve out space to be intimate with one another, go on dates and carve out time? Ask for what you need.
I love that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you said something that made me think, what if, because we have, a number of friends that went through even postpartum, right? And so in the case of that, how do you then support, not only the mother, but also address the gentleman who has to support that,
Yeah, so men have feelings too,
Yeah,
and
hold on,
that's
one second, one second. Hold on, wait. Out. Can you just say that? Hold on, let me make sure that. I just want to. You can say that one more time.
so men have feelings too.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna give her a round of applause because we just want to make sure that the world just heard the doctor say that herself. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sister. Go ahead.
So no, but to that point, men have to practice articulating their feelings as well. And also recognizing how they communicate. So that's what I mean. It is literally a partnership. And so understanding each other's communication style. Do I need to take a step back? Do I do better if I got to write things down and that's how I communicate with you? But then oftentimes what happens is people suppress their feelings and then it comes out in their behavior. And then you see all of these things happening within the relationship that is impacting them, but then also impacting them being able to raise this child. I encourage men to have a space for themselves. And so while you are in a relationship or you're partnering with this person,
Hold on. You encourage what? Just want to make sure.
men, you need a space for yourself.
Hold on, one more time. Let me make sure the screen is up so everybody can see that. There you go. One more time, Doc.
Men need a space for themselves.
There you go. Round of applause for that. All right, you can finish your thought. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure people heard.
But also men welcoming being vulnerable with themselves and then other men too. And so even if it's one other bruh that you can connect with, y'all can talk about all the things, or even if you have to seek professional help of where you have somebody navigating that with you and guiding you through, don't be afraid to do that. It's going to make you better as an individual and you're going to show up better in your relationships too.
And that's what they need to hear, because men don't talk.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
even if they do, we know they have feelings, but they have to express their feelings.
That's true.
And if they don't talk about it and don't tell us, then we don't know.
Yeah.
And they can't be too embarrassed to have a conversation with a friend of theirs or a therapist. They need to be able to express that. And by doing that, I especially like when they do it with a fellow friend, because oftentimes they find out that they're not alone, that they're not the only one experiencing the same thing. And they need to have that, like that cluster of people to know that they it's someone else like them, and it's not just them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put it back on us. We may need to ask the question to men of what helps you feel safe.
Hold up. Wait. Hold on. Let me pull you back up. One more again.
So ladies, let's ask these men what helps them feel safe. What environment can we help create where they feel like they can talk to us as well?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Also, doctor, I heard when you said about the difference of birthing. So now, it's not like how it was even 15 years ago where I think a law was just passed that even people that are on state assistance like Medicaid, they can have a doula. So there's different ways to have birth now. You can do birthing centers, you can have a midwife, you can have a doula, you can, traditional hospitals. Some women don't want their placenta disposed of, and you sign a form now and they can send you home with it. Give us more insight to people who may not know what those resources that they have available and what those resources include.
Yeah, so like you said, individuals who are on insurance, Medicaid, some insurance providers do offer doulas. What I also want to encourage y'all, when you're having these baby showers, maybe ask for a doula. Ask for the people who are coming to your baby shower to help support you having a doula. Mm-hmm. It's really important because doulas provide that emotional support, especially in that postpartum stage. Mm-hmm. You may have somebody helping you with breastfeeding, helping you with things around the house, helping you in regards to understanding your body and how it heals. During the pregnancy stage, they can come with you to those appointments. They can be your advocate. If something may be going disarray and that mother and that father is so concentrated on the birth, the doula is there to help, to ensure that things can go right, to ensure that these parents are being heard when it comes to their birthing plan too. The other thing I want to uplift is midwives. Midwives are also important, so they can help actually deliver the babies. I want to encourage you to be mindful based off of where you live of if you can access a midwife and the cost of that as well. That's another thing to add to your baby shower list. And lactation support too. So getting support with breastfeeding. I tell everybody, you should probably have each one a doula, a midwife, a lactation support, a therapist on call, so that you can really help support like your overall well-being, especially if you are a Black woman pregnant and birthing here in America. You need those people.
And they don't call it Lamaze class anymore, right? I think it's just called like birthing class that you can attend to show how to properly breathe and, you know, when the time comes. But just when you mention the doula, just so that people are watching, doulas they don't deliver the child. They're there to support you. So like you said, there are women for whatever reason that may be single giving birth to a child and don't have that support, don't have that village. They can inquire about a doula to give them that support that they may need.
And now I've been seeing some Black men come through and they're becoming doulas as well to ensure that, you know, Black women are being safe when they're bringing these babies into the world. So shout out to the Black men that are leading that movement and also showing up for Black women.
He just smiled.
Yeah.
Doc, I just want to thank you for coming on to the show. I do want to know real quick though, what's the where do you go from here? Because you're so well read, you're so well educated, right? You have so much knowledge behind you, but where do you go from here? I feel like you're already there. Like, what's the next move for Dr. Ananesia?
Yeah, so you bring your people with you. You keep reaching back. And, you know, I have mentors that have soared way beyond where I want to be at. And so I'm being pulled along as well. And so I just keep bringing the folks along with me. And, you know, we gonna disrupt and shake some stuff up and keep doing the thing when it comes to taking care of our community.
I know that's the shit. Listen, we definitely here for the disruption. That's what We Talk Weekly does, and we all right with it. So that said, sister, what's the legacy you want to leave? Like, if I was to ask you, what's the legacy that you would like to leave? What would you tell me?
That's a great question. Before I got on this call, my daughter said, I'm proud of you, because I told her I was about to get on this call. So long as she's proud of me, but then also I want the community to know that I showed up. I want the community to feel like we was in this together. I never want to feel like this is isolated work. And so I want to stay rooted in community. That's my legacy.
I love that. Well, they're going to know now. They're going to learn today. And so because of that, I want you to let everyone know how to get in contact with you, how they can find you, all that good old stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, everybody. I am under The Womb Therapist. So TheWombTherapist. Also, if you are in Kentucky and you are looking for a mental health provider, you can go to my website, www.momologymwclub.com. And then I'm on LinkedIn too, so Dr. Ananesia Williams.
I love that. Real quick, because I think someone asked the question. You mentioned a couple terms. I think you said a lactation specialist. What is that, and what is the difference between a midwife and what's the other? A doula. Can you just kind of expound on some of that stuff?
Yeah, so a lactation specialist is someone that helps with your boobs. They help you understand of how you allow the baby to latch on. They give you the education as far as breast tenderness, what that may look like. Also, that postpartum stage of helping you figure out when it's time to wean baby off. They give you the education of when it comes to postpartum, sometimes we can have depression. So helping you breastfeed can also help relieve some of those depression symptoms. A doula is that emotional support for mama and daddy too. So ensuring that they are understanding what mama and dad need, ensuring that they understand what is the birthing plan. They can do anything as far as maybe assisting with your meals. You just have to ask them the questions of what they're trained in. Sometimes doulas are also lactation specialists as well. They also may be able to help you when it comes to figuring out what is your choice when it comes to bringing your baby into this world. Do you want your placenta? What does it look like in regards to the shots and things that you want for your baby? A midwife, I always tell people to make the distinction. Midwife is there to ensure this baby comes into the world healthy, and so they can actually deliver the baby. They can do pretty much what the OB can do as well. Do your research though and see what's best for you, because unfortunately, what I've learned in working with Black women, some did not qualify for a midwife because they were considered high risk. So you have to be understanding of what's going on with your body and also knowing what's the best fit for you too.
Interesting. So, so the difference between midwife and doula is the midwife can help you deliver.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. Interesting. All right, cool. Well, thank you for the information. Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for giving all that good old stuff, and you continue to do what you do. One more time, how can they get in contact with you and find out all that good old stuff?
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram, The Womb Therapist, and then also LinkedIn, Dr. Ananesia Williams, and then www.mammologymwclub.com.
Fantastic. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk of WPP MLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful
Classy Lady
and
Sparkle.
the beautiful and the beautiful.
Dr. Ananesia.
There you go. There you go. She understood the assignment. There you go. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. Thank you so much, Doctor. And
Thank you, Doctor.
One thing we say on the show is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show. So you're always welcome to come back. And I think you have some great information that we want to bring you back as someone that's one of our specialists when we're talking about, just the support of our sisters. Because I like that you specialize in that. Because for me, moving forward, we need to be worried about our community together, and stop being on this one side against another side. And we need to start talking about community, right? And so that's where I'm at this point. So I just want to thank you for coming in. You're invited to come back whenever you please.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. All right, y'all. So don't go nowhere. Let me find this. But we gotta get back. We gotta get better on this because I need to find out how we can get back on the. I'm sorry, Doc. I'm talking to you as we go through this. Here we go. We right here. All right. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after this, y'all. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk. We'll be right back. Weeklies After the Talk on WPP MLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful
Classy Lady
and
Sparkle.
the beautiful. So you already know what's going on next. What we got coming up next?
You got good news and bad news. I actually, that commercial, I like that one.
Okay.
Like, we talk.
Oh, it's kind of
real
laid
calm
back.
and serene. Yeah. I
no
like
doubt.
that. I
There
like
you
that.
go. I got you.
Yeah,
No doubt, man.
yeah.
So you ready?
I'm ready. All
right,
right.
give it to us early.
I'm so thrilled to give y'all a peek into this amazing work that is happening with Youth Civic News. So We Talk Weekly has partnered with the Film Factory to birth YCN, Philly's next generation of journalists. They're tackling real-world assignments with professionalism, and passion. These young reporters aren't just learning, they're out there doing the work. They're bringing stories to life just like a real newsroom. For anchoring and directing, they are showing us what the next generation of Philly journalists look like. Let's take a look behind the scenes at YCN in action.
Hi, I'm Ella Algonza, reporting for Youth Civic News. Today I'm just going to show you our Sunday routine on how everything goes down. So here we're on the second level at the CIC building. Here we do a lot of film productions, film programming, a lot of learning and hands-on activities. So in one of the rooms I'm about to show you is where some of the students are doing their beats, which are their stories. So right now they're researching some things and just figuring out their lines and all their fun things that they're gonna say. And then in the next room is where we're gonna film. So right now they're getting the cameras ready and all the other equipment. So when we're filmed, everything will go smoothly and perfectly. I'm Ella Guads reporting for Youth Civic News. Back to your program.
Awesome. That is just, like I said, they are going to be the new Philly, the new generation of journalists here.
That's right.
So y'all got a lot more to come with those young journalists. All right, so I know majority of the world knows this by now, that Donald Trump has won the 2024 presidential election. He secured a second term in the White House over Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, for a president to have a second term is one thing. For a president to win as 45 and come back as 47, that's another. So although Trump is facing multiple legal charges and will be the first president to take office while several criminal charges against him are pending, the American people still voted for him. The charges are election interference, classified documents, a classified documents case, a New York fraud case, and then a hush money payments case. So Trump has pleaded not guilty to all the charges that are against him. Trump said to his supporters, "Tonight we've proven that no obstacle is too great to overcome when the American people want change." On the other hand, Kamala Harris campaigned very fiercely, rallying the Democratic base and advocating for unity. Now, granted, Harris didn't appear to deliver her concession speech the night of her loss, but she did deliver it the next day, but her supporters did question that. She stated in her speech, "While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign, the fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people." I want to ask the We Talk Weekly family, what do you all think and your thoughts about this election? Sizzle?
What you put it on me for? Y'all don't want to hear what I got to say.
Yes, we do. Lady S5, you got the mic too. What you think?
Oh, deep. She just slid the mic over to you.
I think the country is not ready for a woman president. He lost to Hillary. I mean, he beat Hillary. He beat Kamala, but he lost to Biden. And I feel like if any woman ran against Ronald McDonald would be president.
I said something similar. But I think when I said that, Daryl was here and he said, well, they got prime ministers that are women everywhere else. I said, but not at the U.S. Yeah. My sentiments on this is one, the American people are tired of the crazy prices that inflation. But why is this election right like the first week after all your bills are paid? It's the first of the month, right? The election was on November 5th. So by the time this election comes, people bank accounts ain't filled like they would be if it was on another day. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean is that everybody done paid their bills, went shopping, paid their first of the month stuff, and now you're telling them to vote. The timing, to me, aligning that with the American people already upset about what inflation looks like, and now looking at their accounts, they're like, you know, we want change. And the biggest thing I think is that the Biden administration has been in there for 4 years, and now you're telling me, okay, this is what we're going to change. Why didn't that change come prior? I would have appreciated, as a person, as the party of a Democrat, I would have appreciated them taking accountability on the things that they feel like were messed up and what they could have done better. That is how they would have, to me, got more of, and not those swing states where people who were once Democrat to turn red versus blue, to let them know, we did do this, and this is why this is the outcome, but here's what we're going to do better. I think that this was really like a Saturday Night Live on both opponents, just talking about people's character. All right, Sizzle, what's your thing?
Go, no, you go.
No,
ahead.
I'm gonna talk for a minute. Go,
I am too.
go ahead. Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, you good.
You say you sure? I'm positive, Sizzle. I'm positive.
So, and I will say this, I do agree with Stacey. I just feel like this election showed just how sexist and racist America is. Daryl did say we do have, there are women presidents in other countries, but America is sexist and racist. I feel like, as far as the campaign, I feel like Kamala Harris, VP Kamala Harris did a phenomenal job with her campaign in the small amount of time that she did have.
Okay.
In the small amount of time that
Thank
she
you for
did
saying
have.
that.
I feel like the Democrats could have done a lot better, even when it led up to the transition of her. And you know, people are blaming Biden, and people are blaming the elites, which basically, I just kind of feel like I could literally Monday morning quarterback this all day. But I think at the end of the day, you cannot leave out the fact that the Trump campaign, they led a massive disinformation social media mill. And when I tell you, it was massive on so many different levels, so many different social media platforms, that a lot of millions of Americans fell for that. And I could see how so many of them were swayed, even to the point where it's like you put all of the issues all on the one party, no matter who's running, even in the House, the Senate, and all that. You're going to be turned off to Democrats based on the massive information and misinformation and disinformation mill that they ran this whole campaign. What I'm seeing, I think now the important thing is that people need to focus on what's about to happen. And that's what people are starting to do now, because now, you know, even when you look at Google Trends, the trend now is to look up what are Trump tariffs, what is Project 2025 and all this stuff. And by the way, Republicans have come out saying that Project 2025 was the agenda the whole time. So now that Donald Trump is the now that Donald Trump is the president-elect, he has come out and said that this is not him, but Republicans are saying that this was the agenda the whole time. So they need to look at what life is going to be like now that we are headed towards Project 2025. And then, you know, the Biden administration did have the Inflation Reduction Act, so inflation was kind of slowing down a little bit, but it's going to shift back, because now, you know, companies are expecting these retaliatory tariffs, and they're already beginning to raise their prices. They're already talking about, you know, passing it, because tariffs lead to inflation. Economists have said how bad this was, but mainstream media did not cover it. And now they're starting to say, like, oh, you know, these are what tariffs are. This is what this does, and da-da-da. When all that stuff should have been covered months ago, and people are starting to basically talk about that now. Now, even when it comes to deporting the 15 to 20 million people that they're planning to deport, these undocumented immigrants have jobs here. Some of them work in agriculture, they work in farming, they work in food prep, manufacturing, the delivery jobs, the drivers, all that stuff. So when they are deported, or even the ones that flee because they are in fear of being deported, even those ones, then there becomes a shortage. Like, for example, farming, there's a shortage of food and all that. So what happens then? So then, even not even to mention how detrimental Project 2025 is going to be for Black America. So these are the things that we really got to get ready for. And, it's coming. It's coming. The elimination of civil rights is freaking crazy. It's crazy. It is. It's about to go down. Law enforcement immunity, the death penalty, they want to expand that to include RICO charges. In Project 2025, they're already talking about, let's go ahead with the execution of the 44 federal prisoners that's awaiting the death penalty, the awaiting execution. What they're going to do to the Department of Education that affects our public schools and our charter schools.
I kind of feel like those tactics are like scare tactics. It's like, if we put these things in place, it will stop
they're
crime before it happens.
They're already doing it.
The idea is for it to stop crime before it happens. So if we make people think even RICO will give you the death penalty, they won't do it. It's like, make an example out of one, work. Everybody else will chill.
Yeah, that doesn't work though.
Well, then everybody will all RICO charges, everybody will just die.
Yeah, that's why.
So I mean, it's one or the other.
But that's why a lot of people are fighting to abolish the death penalty, because they know that it's not a deterrent to crime. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of the stuff that's happening in Project 2025 is being implemented right now. Right. A lot of the stuff. Mm-hmm. So this is what Americans need to brace themselves for.
Who wrote it?
Who? Project 2025? It was written. There's a lot of people that actually wrote Project 2025.
Trump claims they have nothing to do with it.
And that's a fact. He has nothing to do with Project 2025 as far as writing it. But a lot of the writers in it, he has worked with them. He has had them in positions before. The Heritage Foundation, they have spent over $20 million putting Project 2025 together since 2022. So I know rich people don't waste money. There's no way that they made all of this and that they're just going to not do any of this stuff. Yeah. There's no way. And it's almost nearly 1,000 pages. So, it's maybe some stuff in it that he doesn't use, and it may be some stuff that he does. And I'm just praying that, he doesn't use that. But it's not a policy that he wrote himself. It's a conservative policy. They've pitched it to him. I know Ben Carson wrote part of it. There's so many different people that wrote a lot of it. And all I'm going to say is we're going to see.
Yeah, we're going to see. The one thing I do want to say is if we're always talking, or the Democratic Party was talking about this whole misinformation campaign, right, that he did, and all of the misinformation that Trump been spewing, the fake news and all of that, right? We have to acknowledge that some of the talking points that the Democratic Party was saying was that was Project 25 was his policy, and it just wasn't. The Heritage Foundation, though conservative, and though some of the stuff that he may do may be really close to Project 2025, but it wasn't his policy. So we have to be clear when we talking about all this misinformation, not to use those same talking points, because that's misinformation.
That's already been fact checked. It was not a policy written by him.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. So that's a full stop. So if
really.
It is a full stop if it's not his. That's not his. I can take I can create a policy and take some stuff from there, some stuff from here, and be like, yo, this is what I do. That's not my policy. I just kind of took some stuff, right? So if he has something that sounds similar, all right, cool. But the talking point from day one has been, yeah, y'all need to be scared of Project 25 because Donald Trump, they was putting those two names in the same sentence,
Together.
and that was wrong.
But they're saying because they created it for him to use.
No, Project 2025 was in place before he even was thinking about running.
He's been thinking about running.
No,
since
I'm talking about,
2020.
well, then if that's the case, Project 2025, I believe, been out in 2020.
2022.
And that was the argument because
Yeah.
because he kept saying he had nothing to do with it. They said, yeah, but your name is all through it. His name is in it like 300, 500 times or something.
Yeah. And so the point is if I write a policy and say, hey, like, you're going to be active president, or the assumption is potentially you be president. So I'm going to address this to you because I want you to see where we are, right?
So aside from that, then what else?
Aside from what?
Aside from your, Trump not being
No.
policy that he's written.
No. So I'm
then
talking.
what
I know.
else?
I just wanted to make sure that was clear if we're talking about misinformation.
No,
'Cause
I
just wanted to
I've
start that-
already
I just-
clarified that part, that this is not a policy that was written
All right, so
by
we can.
him.
All right, so we can move forward. Cool,
Okay.
cool. So I just wanted to make sure that was a understanding because that was misinformation.
Right.
So the point.
Not
that
everybody was saying that. Not everybody was saying that.
That was one of the biggest talking points of the nation.
Not everybody was saying what?
That it was written by him.
No, no. They didn't say it was written. They said that was his policy.
They said that was his policy.
Yeah,
that was
they
his
never
plan.
said that he wrote it.
Okay, well,
Nine times out of
not
10,
everybody
some-
was saying that.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
well,
So
for the
you
ones
can
who
you can
was.
sit and you can speak for everybody in America that was saying
No,
that.
no,
even
I
though
can't.
there's tons and tons of.
So we can say that on the other side too. So the point that I'm making is that was a huge talking point that was misinformation. That's all I'm saying. So
All right, well, go to your next
Yeah.
one.
So the next one is, I think the problem for me was, I don't know if they can see it. Can I see this? Yeah. So we have right this most important issues poll, right? 4% foreign policy, 11% immigration, 14% abortion.
And wait, what's this again?
This is the NBC News exit poll. This was the most important issues of the nation, right? This was from NBC. So in looking at this, one of the biggest problems that I seen with the Democratic Party and a lot of the talking points in the what I'm campaigning on, she didn't start Kamala, right? Which I don't, so I want to be clear that this wasn't Kamala's initiative. I'm sure she was giving this strategy. So I think everyone was blaming Kamala. Oh, she's not doing this. She's only the representation.
Only.
Yes, only the
That's
representation. That's it. So I always blame the strategists of the Democratic Party. So I think they dropped the ball, not Kamala Harris, right? So if I'm looking at this pie chart, literally they ran on abortion as a number-one issue. That's not what the American citizens were talking about was the issue that most of the nation was having an issue with, right? So I'm like, okay, well, if you see what the American people are saying are issues, how come you wouldn't lead with that? So I think that's where they dropped the ball. Not saying abortion, right? Reproductive rights aren't important. Because when we talked about Roe v. Wade, they just, like, how would you, I don't even want to get into how arrogant and dismissive that was, right? To do something like that. However, when we talk about what the nation concerns are, the first thing you should have went through was the economy. That's actually the state of democracy. That's a 36%. Secondly, it should have been economy and then reproductive rights. So when you talk about strategy, I think that their whole strategic game was off. I think also when it comes to how we consider what information, the analysts, right? All of the people who have all of this information, they know certain things, right? How can you understand that 90%, not that big, I'll get but at least 65% aren't academics. 65% of the nation aren't academics. So when you talk about this is fake news and this statistics say, people don't care about that. Media literacy. Yes, it's media. They don't care about that. It's about what can I identify that relates or affect me. Misinformation, I don't care about. I don't want to know what's going to affect, what's going to put money in my pocket. They don't care about, oh, well, Donald Trump was a felon and this, that. People don't care, especially when a lot of people who look like me are felons. So to run on a talking point of Donald Trump is a felon it was men that was looking like, yo, I'm a felon and you are DA? That don't sound right. And then it was the division that this created, the pointing the fingers, the academics talking, and these people are uninformed and this, that, and the other. This whole thing was a cluster bunch of nonsense that could have been prevented if all they did was stick to the facts. Last point. For you to give, because Kamala don't write her speeches. She may give some input, but you have a speech. They give her a speechwriter. Who had the bright idea to every sentence that you talk about, you have to mention Trump? In any debate, they say you're not even supposed to do that. Every time she mentions something, she'll say some of the stuff she's doing, but it's better than Trump. Yo, keep his name out your freaking mouth.
I didn't
They
like
both
that either.
don't do that.
Not as much as Kamala did.
I complained about that during the debate. I was like, it was too much. I didn't like it.
It was way too much.
I didn't like it at all. I'm like, you just as bad as he is. Just say what you're saying.
Exactly.
Stop referring to him. But like, just do what you need to do.
So that
it was
was
too much. And I think I think people like stability, right?
Yep.
It's like I need to see you standing 10 toes tall.
That's
we know
right.
what's going on. We know what's happening. You went from Biden over here shaky, falling asleep, not really knowing. He's saying he owed this, that, and the other. And so okay, I'm gonna step down. We're gonna push her up here. And then she only had 3 months. So it's like it's too much confusion over here. People like, let me just go over here where they felt like they knew stuff was just stable.
Exactly.
It's like too much going on over here.
And so that was one of the issues that I really had, the fact that they kept writing in all of her narratives. Then she started to take it and, yeah, but Donald Trump's like, yo, this character, man, like, I got my own views on that because I didn't vote for him. So I literally was like, why, if you are saying all of this stuff about him, just leave his name. Tell us what you want to do. Because all you doing is giving free promotion at that end. Like every time you mention them, ding, 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 ding. Oh, you thinking about me that much? Cool, right? So when we talk about all of the things that went wrong, it was the strategy. They just completely and continuously kept dropping the ball when it came to that. And so when
You think entertainment was
I didn't want to talk about the entertainment. I think that they heavily. I didn't hear you. They didn't. I don't think they heard you. So I think the problem with that.
Do you think entertainment?
There you go. I think the problem with that is you didn't need it, and so a lot of people thought that now you pandering.
That was the word I was going to use
yeah,
because I personally did not like the pandering in Philadelphia because the Democratic Party decided to use their money and their funds to spend it on DJs at the polling places, and now when y'all ever seen Beanie Siegel and Freeway doing a whole bunch of political stuff, but now you giving them checks to come out and do politics? Like really? No. And what I didn't like about, we early voting over at the Popeyes. Oh, the Popeyes? Really? So y'all figure y'all can buy us with hip hop and fried chicken? Yeah. I wasn't with it. Yeah. It wasn't cool. Not to me.
It wasn't. And I felt what?
But guess what? But guess what? People gonna do what they gonna do regardless.
Right. I'm saying that
people came out to the little concerts, got their little groove on. got the little free food and went home.
And went home. Yep.
That ain't make them vote.
But they got the votes. If you look at the numbers, you look at Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, they got those numbers.
We lost.
Got what numbers?
We lost.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you look at the notes, basically, I agree with you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I did not like the pandering. I think people were in line and they were about to leave, and then they come up with celebrities on a laptop, and then celebrities are talking to you, telling you not to leave. Like, when does a celebrity tell you about voting, about policies? Yeah. I'm saying that their strategic way of pandering worked.
How? No, I'm saying how are you qualifying it worked? That's what I'm
saying that it worked because it wasn't the black women. It wasn't right. It wasn't the black women's vote that didn't work. Right. The Democrat worked far as the way they strategized it, and it's like low-hanging fruit. Why did we take the low-hanging fruit? They pandered to the black votes, and they got the black votes
by the what I'm saying
by
is,
pandering.
So you're saying that they got the votes because they were doing all these parties and all
they
these
were
concerts.
Pandering, right? Yes,
okay.
I'm saying that the American people chose who won, and a lot of what you're saying as far as what is the reason he won is why. But I'm saying that the Democrats, after they've done and they've rallied up all their numbers, they're like, oh, we should have probably pandered to the Latinos because that's where the vote came from, the Latino men. But we focused on the black people and we got their votes, but their votes wasn't enough.
Yeah, I honestly think that black people voted for Kamala because we were supporting Kamala. Because honestly, I think like the conversation that we had with who was it? The interview that we just did. Black people, especially men, we came out. Most of the people who were there as I'm talking about the men specifically, right? Most of the men who came out to vote didn't come out because Beyonce was out there, nor Megan Thee Stallion. We wasn't voting for the store.
But if you're not hearing her policies, and she's talking about like Vice President looks over the immigration. Right. She's in charge of the immigration, right? At one point, they were to prevent human trafficking. There were DNAs that they had to do. Right. In order for the DNAs, here's a child, here's an adult. You can't get this child unless you have a DNA. Yeah. She took that away. They even asked her. They said, "When did you come down for immigration?" She's like, "Have you been to London?" Like, I've never been there. She's never gone down there. I'm saying that if the American people have seen that there's policies that she hasn't done, or they're not really agreeing anymore with the Biden administration, then why did the black people vote for her if they're just following the Biden administration? So you're voting just to be a Democrat? You're saying that they're...
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay, so then the pandering worked. In my opinion, like,
okay, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's your,
it's like,
no, that's your, yeah,
like here you are. Like, I mean, you're bringing out Cardi B, you're bringing out Meg, you're bringing out all of this to, I guess, grab the votes for the younger generation. Guess what the Republicans did when they pandered? They only pandered to the Democrats. They brought out Kwani from Philly, like he's going to McDonald's. He's not doing that for the Republicans. He's like, I already got my vote.
I got you.
So when he start pandering to the Democrats to say, hey, I want to flip y'all to come over here, and it worked. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? So I think that it should have been more conservative, where just stick to the facts. It's almost like two parents. One parent is going to talk about, let's just say a mother and father, and they're getting divorced. The mother going to keep talking about the father. The kid's going to start resenting her because why you keep talking about him? Yeah. If anything, let me find out who he is in his character by myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If anything, just stick to the policies. Oh, you had a good time with your father? Okay, y'all ate pizza? Great. You had a good time with your father? Where'd you go? To the park? That's it? That was free? Yeah. Oh, the pizza was cold? That's all you had? You didn't have that? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. You stick to the policies and talk about what you know and what can change for solution-based.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that Kamala did the best that she could do in the amount of time that she had to do it. And I think, again, I blame the Democratic strategists.
July, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that July when this was
like, I think they said, how many days was it? Like 100 days?
It was July.
I think that, honestly, if it was even about changing history, and I think that what I said earlier, which both you, Sizzle, and Lady S. said, I don't think America's ready for a woman. I think they're sexist and still racist because it's America. But I think if they wanted to make a real change, what they could have did is had Biden step down for those 4 months, still have her run, and then now you got a woman president.
That was the biggest problem that I had with the Democratic Party. Again, going back to them, like literally people were telling like, yo, like he's showing signs that he isn't mentally stable enough to go back and forth with even a conversation. He needs to get out. Put somebody in there right now. Period. They should have had a primary. They didn't have that. And so that was the problem from the beginning. Now, to that point, if you look at all these strategists, they know the numbers. You put one of the most, I think, honestly, even more so than Kamala Harris, even more so than half the presidents that we had. I think Hillary probably was the most qualified person on the planet that could have been the president.
Me too.
Now,
I voted for Hillary also.
yeah, so to that point, right? So the fact that she couldn't beat Trump, you really think that a black woman
Exactly.
that they hate, they hate us, right?
happening.
But a black woman specifically, in the amount of time that she had, you really think that if Clinton couldn't do that she can do that against Trump too? Because if you look at the numbers, literally, she got dragged through. It's like
she
it
did.
is. It was just a blowout.
Right out the gate.
Yeah.
Immediately.
But I think they're looking at it that she was VP, and she still is, and that's honorable. But the reason she was VP was a default because Biden chose her and he won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if it's like, if anything, it wasn't on her own merit that she won. Right.
Yeah. So I just feel that they did a horrible job, and the finger should not be pointed at Kamala. Period. It should be pointed at the Democratic Party, who does the campaign, who creates the campaign, who chooses. They didn't even give the American people the opportunity to say who they wanted. They just chose. They just chose her. At the last minute, kept Biden in there. They should have took him out. And then you, out of all people,
But
real quick, hold that thought. They literally told us to stick with Biden. Biden can do it. He's not getting old. He's not. And then after you got the American people on that tight time, you didn't pivot and take him out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you also got to think about Waltz. Like Waltz, to me,
Should have had Shapiro.
Right. That
Period.
There it is.
Should have had Shapiro.
And it's like, why would you choose the
Pennsylvania,
candidate?
I don't
Right. Like Waltz would have probably took her to I don't know if she could have won, but her numbers wouldn't have been a sweep like they were. So guess what? Like Sizzle said, what America is about to embark on, they're going to have another 4 years because his protege is Vance. That's who they're going to be building up to be the next president after his term.
If we play our position accurately, and the Democratic Party listens to the people, I'm a registered Democrat, right? If the Democratic Party listens to the American people, look at the stats, understand that everyone isn't an academic, so I could care less what you're saying on CNN, I could care less on what you say on MSNBC, that's not, most of us at this point, even millennials down, don't even look at TV. So most of that conversation that pontification of X, Y, and Z is not happening. Most of the information that a lot of people are getting is social media. And they try to do better with that, with their ads and stuff. But literally, that's all they did was ads.
Right.
So you're not even really, truly, organically giving information out as it relates to us voting. And it goes back to what Obama was saying. People need to continue this conversation every day, because guess what I heard again for the umpteenth time that I ever voted? This is going to be the most important election.
Yeah. So I was also going to say, I don't know what the numbers are, but I would love to see how many Democrats change to Republican or Green, because I think that this is probably the most percentage of people who were once a Democrat that changed their party to whichever. Like the numbers show that black women and black men stood behind the Democrat / Kamala party. However, I want to see what those numbers look like, because a lot of people I know, and it may be economics, because a lot of people I know that are middle class that are no longer Democrats. And they're in a generation, what is that, Generation X, where they're like 40 and above, and they're like, no, I got taxes to pay. I got, tuition to pay. I got, and they're in that 6-figure income where they not looking at how the Democrats was at one time, saying, I need welfare, I need resources, and not even thinking about their legacy, meaning if their children need it. They're looking at themselves and what their retirement is going to look like and who can help them.
That's right.
That's it.
I just want everyone to be honest with what they actually seen, and I do want to make sure that we give Kamala her grace, because I think she did is the best that she could do in the amount of time and under the constraints that I know that she had.
90 days.
90 days, literally.
They already had one debate with Trump. Like, that shows
That she mopped the floor with him.
No, I'm talking about Biden already had
Yeah.
Right, I meant Biden. Biden already had one presidential debate. Because that one presidential debate, it already marks the time frame that it's on go. And for her to have to be able to only get one, she didn't even get more than one. He was like, no.
Yeah.
And it might feel because he felt defeated by her. You know what I mean? She definitely did good in that debate. I think that the vice presidential debate now, I think Vance won that.
Absolutely. Vance won that. Anytime you have Walz, first of all, he was shaking his head, agreeing with Vance pretty much the whole debate. He's like, yeah, see, I agree. And
But see, people don't even realize that probably is the one that took America over. They didn't really get much. At least when I watched the presidential debate, I didn't get much policies. I got more policies when I watched the vice presidential debate.
I agree with that.
And let me tell you why that is. When you just said that's probably what took them over. We all know, like you said, the president of the United States is the face. They're the ones that deliver the messages. They're the ones that saying, I'm going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do. But they're not the ones that are actually making the real decisions. They're not the ones doing the work. We all know everybody else is the ones doing the work. So that vice president is the one doing the work. So because that was a love fest. So they were in
I know.
That was like,
we're going to go out for bigger after this year.
Yeah, that was in conjunction with the presidential debate that we watched. Now, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Going back, I think that was just entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like it was this. How was the presidential debate not as serious as the vice president?
Well,
because it was like it felt like a joke. Like, are y'all serious right now?
Yeah. Well. To and I feel like I'm supporting this guy, but to Vance's credit, he's like a Ivy leaguer. Like, and he's very smart, very intelligent. So
is Walz.
Yeah, but that's why you had that type of conversation. And so that's my point, which I think should happen with two candidates. I believe that you don't have to bump heads 100% of the time. We can just be, I'm red, you blue, we just don't agree on certain things, but we're still okay. If you look at the presidential debate, that didn't look like we're still okay. And Kamala wiped the floor with him. And so if Trump wasn't so triggered, maybe it would have been a little better, right? But it became more argumentative than anything, and an ego trip, right? The Vance and Walz debate was a little different. That seemed like two people kind of respect each other. They're knowledgeable on policy. They know what was going on. They understand, democracy. And that was the conversation. And so that's why I give that more credit than the presidential debate. But you're talking about Kamala. Like, do you expect anything less from her? No, especially when you talk, she's an attorney. She's smart. Like, you expect her to have a conversation with somebody back and forth like that. Now, I still was a little upset because, when you talk about, like, just answer a question, I felt like she wasn't doing a lot of that.
That annoyed me.
Yeah, she would not answer a straight question. And when she was pushed on it, shout out to the journalist that was here in Philly. Shout out to the journalist that was here in Philly. That's the National Association of Black Journalists, right? Is it National Association of Black Journalists Philly chapter, I believe, that they held this debate, and they did an excellent job with questioning that it seemed like Kamala got a little flustered with. That said, Trump, when he came and was trying to interview and do that sit down, that town hall with them, Trump was like, he didn't even answer anything. He was more, oh, y'all, this, that, and the other. And it's like, yo, you can't, I don't believe you should take Trump serious. I don't take him serious.
He doesn't answer policy questions either.
Yeah. So
he uses third grade level words like.
Right.
It was awesome. It
was
horrific. The worst I've ever seen.
Exactly, which goes to the point of most of the citizens in the nation are not academics. Right. So you talk to the constituents as such. Stop having these doctoral debate and defense-based theses in a conversation. You're not going to get the American people in it.
Because they like people that they can relate to. And if nothing else, they understand what he's saying and don't understand what the others are saying.
That part.
That was your good news and your bad news by Classy Lady Spark.
Gee, Spark.
I forgot that's where we was at.
I know, right? All right, we about to go into the sizzle, man. You ready for the sizzle? I know, right? Did you have anything else you want?
Not tonight.
Oh, all right, no doubt. All right, so we talk weekly. After the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia, 106.5 FM, we talk weekly. After the talk with your boy Charles Gregory, the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
And the beautiful.
Classy Lady Spark.
And the beautiful.
Lady Estat.
And that was We Talk Weekly. Y'all tune in next week for another episode, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Peace.